welcome back. You've not had a video from me in a while, but you've certainly not had a vlog from me in a while, and that is because I have been really struggling pushing my wheelchair. I can manage in the house on the flat, but other than that I really need someone to help me. But I finally managed to come up with a solution. So I got a taxi to the train station and then got on the train, and then I've got a short bit to do to the bull ring, which I'll show you in a minute, and then the bull ring is flat, and I'm going to go down and hire a power chair so that I can do some shopping, because while I can manage it flat, I can't manage it for very long. So I certainly couldn't do a 3-hour shopping trip. And then Dan is going to come and pick me up, and we're going to go for dinner. I've got no makeup on today, partly because I didn't have the energy to put makeup on and come out, partly because I want to try 2 Charlotte Tilbury products to see if I have an allergic reaction to them. Dan's asked me for a Christmas list, and I don't want to put anything on it that I might potentially then be allergic to. I've got a list of things I really want to do, and I don't really know how best to do it. I don't know whether to do things in categories or do things as I come to the shops. So I want to look at cots, because Dan's mum has very kindly offered to buy us a cot, but I don't know what is going to work best for me, and I just from looking on the internet I'm a bit concerned that I'm going to struggle with a cot, so I need to see things in person. I want to do some Christmas shopping. I want to try on some maternity clothes, because there's only, I think, one shop where I live that has a very, very small maternity section. So I want to try things on in Birmingham so that I can then order online if I need to, and kind of have a rough idea at least what size to get. And I want to have a look at the Christmas makeup just to get into the festive spirit, because I wasn't able to the last couple of years, so that's what I would like to do. And I thought it would be fun to take you along with me. So this is actually the only non-flat bit I've got to manage, and actually it's fairly flat as it is, which is quite good. So not too much strain on my shoulders, wrists, elbows and everything else. It feels so weird having my legs at this angle. This is not what I'm used to at all. I decided to start with cots, however, came up to the top floor of the bull ring to do Mamas and Papas, and it's been replaced with Victoria's Secret, and I should have remembered that because I've seen it previously and I just forgot. So I think I'm going to head out and do Mother Care and then potentially John Lewis, just to get some cot ideas, and then I'll move on to another section of my list of things to do. Mother Care was a little disappointing, smaller store than I was expecting, and they only had 3 cots to look at, and I don't know, I'm not sure if any of them are going to be helpful or suitable, and I was hoping to see more. So I've come to John Lewis in the hope that that is better, because otherwise I don't know what to do in terms of seeing things rather than just looking online. Lovely, who I had a chat to. She's given me some things to think about, and they had loads. They have a nursery service where someone will spend a few hours going through everything you might need for your nursery and thinking about what will suit you. They had baby wearing, they had high chairs, all sorts. And I hadn't even thought about a high chair, so now I've got loads of things to think about, which is great. I've got a brochure, I've got the number for their nursery service, which Dan may or may not want to do, and now I'm going to go to Selfridges to have a look at the makeup bits. I want to do a back to MAC, pick up a lipstick, and try some of the Charlotte Tilbury products that I want to put on my wish list. Hello, please excuse my wet hair and the probably rubbish lighting. You can probably tell it is now the next day. I didn't get to film as much as I wanted to, but the reasons behind that are quite important, so I thought it would be important to talk about them. I had two issues, might not be the right word, but we'll go with it because my brain's not really functioning particularly well. I had difficulty with the lighting. I was really hoping to get to Birmingham before all the Christmas lights went on, and unfortunately I didn't make it in time. I was hoping to go last week and that just didn't happen because I spent, I think, an hour and a half on the phone to the hospital last Friday, and then I had hospital appointments and things throughout the week, so I wasn't able to go until this Friday. So I had to do a lot of very strategic planning of routes to take to different shops to avoid the most problematic lighting for me. So I was concentrating on that. And then I also started struggling with back pain because of the power chair that I was borrowing. And I didn't realise how bad the backrest was for me until I sat back in my chair and suddenly went, oh, I've got support again. And that's not Shop Mobility's fault at all. They don't buy expensive chairs. Well, all wheelchairs, at least active user and power chairs, are expensive. They don't buy the more expensive ones with specific support because people are only using them for a few hours and anyone can borrow them. So they don't want to be lending out thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds worth of chair to people. I did put my cushion onto the chair, which helped a lot because it was actually, the seat was actually sagging. So having my much thicker with gel insert and very specific support, my cushion on that chair really helped. But the backrest just wasn't right for me, and actually the position of my legs wasn't right, and that can affect your posture and how your back sits in chairs as well. So I was struggling with back pain, and I was really trying to avoid the most problematic lights. I went and had a look at some of the Christmassy makeup, particularly in Selfridges, and I have to say I wasn't all that impressed. I think partly because a lot of things had already sold out. It was the, let me just check my computer, it was the 17th of November yesterday, and already a lot of the Christmas sets were sold out. The Stila eyeshadow, liquid eyeshadow sets had already gone, and a few other things. Quite a lot of the MAC collection had gone, and they just had the displays left. So while it was nice to look at pretty makeup, it wasn't quite the Christmassy makeup sets that I was expecting to see. And I'd made myself a little list of other things to look for. So I spent a little bit of time going between Boots trying to find a Soap and Glory primer that my friends suggested, can't find it anywhere. And I wanted to have a look at some yellow correctors for under my eyes. But the colours between the NYX and the Urban Decay are massively different. So I was a little bit nervous to kind of buy one or the other. So I'm going to come home and play with the Gosh little kit that I've already got. But the Urban Decay makeup artist also told me that peach is better for under the eyes. And I've got a Pixie Peach corrector, but I found yellow works better. So I need to just play around before spending some money and investing in something else to really know what works for me. And I also spent quite a lot of time just trying to find a toilet that wasn't locked. This seems to be a common issue that I have, finding a disabled toilet that isn't locked. The toilet by Selfridges was locked, so I had to go all the way over to the other side of the bullring, and then I had to wait around, and it turned out a lady was in there with her pushchair, which she may have needed those facilities, and I'm not judging her on using them. there was a baby changing facility right next door, but she may well have needed the disabled facilities. But the issue I had was she took such a long time, which again, she may have genuinely needed, but when she came out, she was talking on her phone and taking such a long time because she was concentrating on her phone call just to get out the toilet. And I was sat there going, I need a wee. I'm pregnant. I really need a wee. And I've already not been able to get into the first toilet I tried. So that was a little bit annoying. And she could see I was there, but she just carried on taking her time. And then I had two other disability related experiences that I thought I'd share with you. One of them it's kind of quite sweet but quite funny at the same time, and the other was absolutely horrific and really quite scared me. When I was going into the ballroom from outside, they have the push buttons where the doors open on either side, and they'd actually set it so that the door was fully open and wasn't closing, so you didn't need to push the button at all. A lady came out as I was about to go in, but she came out, she walked through this door that was open. She hadn't had to push the button, the door was open, she hadn't had to push the door, but then she stood and held it open for me. But she didn't stand to the side and hold it open, even though it didn't need to be held open. She stood across and expected me to go underneath her arm, which was really quite awkward because I wasn't in my chair. I don't know. It's hard to get used to a new chair, what its capabilities are, the space it needs. I was worried I was going to run her feet over. But I just thought that was a great example of how sometimes people's kindness and their willingness and desire to help sometimes overtakes common sense. Like, she walked through this door without having to do anything. It stayed open for her. She didn't have to push it. She didn't have to hold it. I'm not sure why she felt she needed to hold it open for me, and she actually made it more difficult. But it was really sweet that she had seen me and she was being considerate, even though it was a little bit misplaced. And then the other experience was just terrifying, and I think it's partly because I am now not on my own being pregnant, so it's not just my safety, it's baby's safety as well. Dan and I have a little meeting place, and there's a Sainsbury's local where I can wait, and then I just have to go across the road to meet Dan where he can stop the car. So I went in, bought myself a Mars bar because I was getting hungry, and I was just waiting by the door so I could see the traffic coming and going, but I was quite safe. And then a guy came in and said to me, "Are you blind or something?" And it was weird because I've never had that question before, so I wasn't really sure how to answer it. So I just said no, and he responded with, "Oh, because you're wearing dark glasses." Right, okay. And then he went, "So why are you in a wheelchair?" And I just responded with, "That's a very personal question," because I kind of had the feeling that he wasn't going to stop with personal questions. And he went, "Well, it's really obvious that you're in a wheelchair. I can see it, everyone else can see it, so why won't you tell me what it is?" It's not any of your business. I didn't say that. I was like, how do I handle this situation? So I just said, well, it is really personal. And he said, huffing, "Oh, we don't have to tell me." I was like, I didn't say this. I was like, I know I don't have to tell you, and I'm not going to. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that people are nosy and want to find out. And it was weird the way he went about it. And then, a couple of minutes later, I heard him being really aggressive towards the security guard. He was saying things like, "Why the F are you tailing me? Just because she's complained about me, that doesn't give you the right to follow me around." And he got quite aggressive with the security guard, and I was like, I hadn't spoken to anyone since he'd been asking me things. I hadn't even looked at anyone since he'd been asking me things. The only thing I can think is that he thought that he was being followed because I'd complained. Someone else might have complained about him, I don't know, but it was just very weird. And after he'd gotten aggressive with the security guard, I felt really uncomfortable. I didn't feel unsafe in Sainsbury's, but I didn't want to leave. It was dark outside and I have difficulty processing things visually anyway. When it's dark, it's even harder. I ended up nearly in tears in the middle of Sainsbury's, and then when I got in the car, I burst into tears, which is really silly. And it's got me thinking, like, how am I going to cope with that situation when I've got a small child? Because it seems to be that the vast majority of people who ask those really personal questions get offended whatever you say, or turn it back onto the person they're asking and make them feel guilty about it. And I don't know how to handle that situation to have any other outcome than me ending up feeling really awkward because they've gone onto the, oh, poor you, oh, and all of that, and I can't deal with pity. Or they get offended by my answers, either by me telling them what's wrong with me, which I've stopped doing largely now, or by just me saying that's a really personal question. Dan suggested I just make something silly up. But again, I don't know how people are going to react to that. On a more positive note, because I want to end this video on a positive note, I tried the Charlotte Tilbury quad on and haven't reacted, and the lipstick, I tried the Matte Revolution lipstick and haven't reacted. So that's brilliant. We went to Pizza Hut for dinner, which was nice. I keep getting the hiccups with this baby ups. It was difficult at times, but it was a nice day out. I'm glad I went, or nice afternoon out. I'm glad I went. And I certainly won't be going again anytime soon because Christmas lights. So yeah, I hope to have another video up soon. I've spent 3 weeks constantly, non-stop, filling out my personal independence payment form because I'm now back in the system for that. So that's why you haven't had a video recently, but I've got some ideas, some things I want to film, so hopefully I'll have those up for you soon. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry this wasn't quite as vloggy as I was intending, but I hope you understand, and I will speak to you soon. Bye!